Ready to face your fears head on, conquer them, and create a safer, more prosperous future? Worried that the world has gone nuts and you've become an insanity magnet? Then grab a cold libation, put on your fuzzy slippers, and get ready to create your own safe space. It's the Safe Space Podcast with your host, Tammy D. For more information and episodes, go to www.saferpodcast.com. That's www.saferpodcast.com.
Hey everybody, it's Tammy DeLu here with a special edition of the Safe Space Podcast. And we're talking today to Claire. We're going to leave her last name anonymous to give her that air of mystery that we always like to have for all of our guests. But also she's really popular, and we don't want any more people stampeding her dental office. But you know, she is a hygienist, and she's been doing that for a long time. I don't understand how anyone could do that job and get bitten and all the other stuff that happens. But she's here to talk to us about her experiences. You know, she's done some interesting things because a lot of people that I would say seniors, and I'm going to say that, you know, with tongue in cheek, you know, 55 plus, that puts a lot of people in that category. And I think people would take issue with that, me calling them a senior. You know, she's thinking about retirement. Let's just say that. And, you know, she's been doing this dental hygiene stuff for a long time, you know, and she's tired of the daily grind, if you don't mind a pun there. and she's going to tell us a little bit today about not only who she is and what she does, but as a person thinking of retirement, what she's looking for in financial services and how she found that with her current advisor and the whole story and everything. I thought it's fascinating. So welcome to the show, Claire.
Hi, Tammy. Nice talking to you.
I forgot to say, where are you exactly? Anyway, Claire.
I live in Kingston, Massachusetts.
And is that a little town, or is it close to something we would all recognize? Or?
Boston. It's south of Boston. It's about a half hour south of Boston. Yes.
So you don't say "Pak the Ka" like some of my Boston friends?
No, I think actually my boss today told me I have one of the strongest Boston accents she's ever heard, because she's from Connecticut, and I didn't. No one's ever told me that. So.
Well, I know, because I've heard stronger. Trust me. I think that's everybody. I think the stereotype is the Southie accent. You know that part. Yeah. But so most of us know that. Most of us know like the Brooklyn accent in New York. So it's great to have you. How are things right now in Massachusetts, by the way, weather-wise and stuff?
Extremely hot, and it's going to hit 100 on Sunday.
100.
Yeah. Yep.
When I think of Mass, I do think of like snow and snowstorms and stuff. It's hard for me to imagine you guys have the same temperature as we do here on the West Coast.
We have a lot of humidity, though. I don't know if you do on the West Coast. Isn't it more dry?
It's like a bone, dry as a bone. Yeah. Like a humid day is 20%.
But over the weekend, the humidity is supposed to be less, but it's hot. It's tough because I have a dog and I can't take the dog out in this, and it's just.
Well, I know I have a little dog too, and it gets so hot here that he can't. His feet are burning on the sidewalk. It's crazy.
Exactly. I took him to the beach last night though, and he loved that, so that was good.
Oh yeah, I forgot you got water out there.
Yeah, I'm right near the water. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, you know, about who you are and what you've done in life and how you've gotten to this point of thinking that you might not like sticking your hands in people's mouths anymore.
Well, I'm actually 68, so I'm, you know, past the age that a lot of people retire, but I'm definitely not ready to retire yet. You know, speaking financially, a few years ago, I was looking into an annuity because I wanted to have a source of income that you couldn't lose on. And then I have a 401, I have an IRA, and now the rest of my money I now have with Sean, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But so I just was looking into annuities, but more from safety of annuity, I guess you want to say.
So the safety of it. So the idea of having an income that you can't outlive was appealing to you from the annuity standpoint. Right. Because if you have at least one of those to supplement your Social Security, it makes you a little, would you say, a little more confident about pursuing perhaps a little riskier stuff, as long as you know you've got that solid like foundation, right? So you're looking at that. You're trying to kind of get everything in order to create the income part of your life, right? That's where you take all this stuff that you work so hard to accumulate and move it into income that you can use to have fun, right?
Yes.
So, or we hope. Who knows what's going on.
Without the volatility, I guess, too, is.
Do you find as you've gotten a little older that your tolerance for volatility has like gone down, way down?
Absolutely. And I'm not well versed with the stock, the market or financial issues. So it was a pleasure to find Sean, but I'm still getting ahead of myself.
Slightly ahead. I'm just trying to set it up.
Because, I'm sorry.
No, you don't want to underplay the importance of someone who's an expert in that type of product, because it is a little complicated. It's not like buying a term insurance policy where you pretty much know that's what it is, right? You got $100,000 and blah, blah, blah. But this is a little more complex. You have a lot of selections with an annuity. You have a lot of things. And I want to say right now, in the middle of this, that even though I am licensed here in the state of California, I am not representing any products. I am not doing anything but talking to someone about their own personal story. And I'm not recommending annuities for anyone. Everyone out there needs to be very diligent. And I know Claire will agree with this, whatever kind of decision you're making, because you do not have time to go back and erase that mistake.
Right.
When you hit like 65, even if you live to 105, you probably don't have enough time to create money to make up for any bad mistake that you make with your money.
Absolutely.
So she's looking forward to not having to stress about it. I mean, when you're older, you don't want to be pulling your hair out trying to figure out all this stuff later. So bringing us to Sean, because the reason I did this special broadcast is because Sean introduced me to some of these clients you keep bragging about and talking about. And so kind of, it's an interesting story because, Claire, so I work with a lot of advisors and a lot of people like Sean. Not enough like Sean, I will say that.
That's the issue, yes.
That's the issue. There's not enough for everyone, Sean Sparkman. There's 20 really sleazy people out there, unfortunately.
Right.
And you have to be very careful what you do. But this is so interesting because rarely do I find somebody over 65 who's actually connected with an advisor electronically, digitally, And this is so amazing. So I want to know, because most older people that I meet want that face-to-face kind of thing. So here's Sean way out in Detroit, and here's you out in Boston.
I know.
You managed to find each other in a universe full of garbage. And so how did this happen?
Well, I'll try not to make it too long, but I was connected to all these things that would pop up on my email, Stansberry Research, all these different things.
Gosh.
And every day, like doom and gloom, and you better do this and this. And I would read them, and then I'm like, I have to stop doing this. And then I did read one about an annuity, so I started looking into them. I don't know how I got a hold of this guy, but he was from Nantucket. So I actually do forget how I got this guy, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, or that summer right after the pandemic. And I met him down in Hyannis, and he came from Nantucket, and we met at some restaurant. And he seemed pretty good, and he was showing me all the stuff, and he was just talking about one annuity. It was a nationwide. So I talked to him for a couple hours, and then I think I even signed papers that day. And then I got home, and I was called the gentleman that I was using as a financial person at that time, and he told me I was out of my mind and what was I doing, and I was making the worst mistake. And so I called this guy that I was going to do it, and I said I changed my mind. And then he got all, he said you can't do that. And I said, well, yes, I can, because I'm changing my mind. So I was all confused. So I for some reason went on the internet, and I looked at Annuity Gator. It came up, and I called, and Sean was the person that answered, and I said, I just want to be upfront with you. I just want an opinion. I'm not looking to buy anything or get anything. I just would value someone's opinion. And I've never looked back, because he was by far the most genuine, honest person I have ever I had this instant feeling of trust. If that sounds crazy, so be it. But that people don't believe, they think I'm crazy. And they do. And I said, I just trust this man. And then I ended up moving all my other stuff that I had to Schwab that he works with. And I've never looked back.
Wow, it's good. And I can say, because I've been working with Sean for a while now, that everything that you felt was the same thing I felt when I first connected with him, that he was trying to do the right things for people,
yes,
regardless of whether he profited or not.
And he was so upfront. He goes, when we talked, and I told him right off, I said, I just have this feeling about you. I want to know what you would have me do. And we talked about a specific annuity, and he was right up front. And he goes, I do get a commission for this, blah, 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 and there's a fee. And I just went with his suggestion, because he gave me quite a few options, and we went, on a meeting, and he had charts, and he showed them all to me, and he explained every single one, and he gave me a choice, and so I went with his advice, and then I just told him that I would like to work with him with the rest of the money that I had. So,
well, of course you did, because at that point, if he's going to give you information, not even expecting anything, right? So you're going to be feeling confident to trust him with the rest of the stuff. And that's an amazing story, because, like I said, not only is it not just older people that are hesitant to connect digitally, but also younger people as well, because there's so many scams going on now.
How do these people sleep at night?
I don't know.
I just don't understand.
I don't know, but coming from a point, see, so you're the end user. Rarely do I get the privilege to speak to someone who's had this experience that you've had buying financial product. And you highlighted some things I wanted to talk about your opinion. What would, if you were talking to a group of annuity specialists, and I'm not talking about the one-trick ponies that are just trying to sell you something for commission, but I'm talking about people that are similar to Sean, that model. How would you tell them, if they want to speak with seniors and they want to get an audience with people who are looking for this product, how can they make it easier for you to shop for them, to connect with them? How can they fix things? What are things that pushed you back away from some of these other people that you dealt with?
I think it was just that I just took a chance and I Googled annuity. I came on Annuity Gator, and it had very good reviews. And then I called and I got him, and that's
what made you decide that Sean was okay. There was intuition, of course, but were there some other factors, some other things that he did right?
A lot of it was intuition, but it was his demeanor, his honesty. It was just him as a person, if that makes any sense. It was just and we talked like family, right? Like he was just so down to earth, and he just explained things so well. He was just Sean.
That is a critical point you just made. Instead of throwing around a lot of acronyms and a lot of, because as insurance people, we tend to do that. We tend to throw these things around and think that everybody else knows what we're talking about, right? So one of the biggest factors is that advisors need to break through the confusion and the information overload and make things simple, right?
And that's what like I said, he had it all up for me, and he went over each and everything, and he was so patient with me, because I said, Sean, I'm not a computer person. I'm not like a financial. I'm just leaving it all up to you. And he was so just patient with me.
That's a key factor. Keeping things simple, being patient with the person on the other end, not assuming that client knows a thing about annuities. I think people make too many assumptions. They think that you've seen every advertisement and everything, so you know everything about annuities. But they're complicated, and they have a lot of options. So you need someone that can sit down and say, okay, here's where you are. Here's what you've told me where you want to be, and here's the product I think is best suited.
And there's a lot of negativity out there about annuities. Like the guy that was working with that told me I was crazy, he actually called me back and told me I was doing the wrong thing because an annuity was not a good, like he was so trying to talk me out of it. And I just stuck with it.
Of course he was, because you're taking bread out of office.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I didn't like. Oh, and then when he knew I wasn't going to back off, then he sent me like a bunch of information on annuities, but I was already done. I said,
Well, the thing is, it's the way they're sold, I think, that people have problems with.
yeah, you're
You know,
absolutely right. Yep.
it's not the fact that they're not, they've always been a great product. As a matter of fact, most wealthy people I know have at least one or two. And then
Yeah.
people forget that Social Security is an annuity.
Yep.
I always say to people that are negative, I go, well, don't you have Social Security? Yeah, well, that's an annuity. What's the difference is that I think there's been a lot of bad actors. I think there's a lot of misinformation. So the advisors that can simplify it and say, look, Claire, this is not an end all, do all, be all. This is a way to fortify your savings against risk. And this is a way for you to create an income stream that you can have some confidence, even though in this world, who knows what's going on. But within reasonable expectations, you can be confident that you're going to have an income stream that you're not going to outlive. And I think that makes everything else feel better when you make financial decisions.
That was the key, is the way he presented it, explained it, and his patience. I was so comfortable with him. I ended up, like I said, I'm repeating myself, switching everything to Sean, and then I can't say enough about him.
There's going to be more and more of these types of sales made over the internet. And I keep telling my advisors, they keep saying the same thing. Well, you can't really sell these kind of products over the internet, but not only can you, but I think it's going to be required in the future, because there's a lot of seniors out there that don't want any face-to-face. They've been pandemic bruised. They don't want any of the face-to-face. So if you don't have a way to do that, advisors, you better start working on it. The other thing, would you say is a factor, did you ever Google Sean or anybody find out stuff about him? I'm just curious.
Yep. I did, but he even, he sent me pictures of his family. That's how, and I've sent him pictures of my new puppy, that we're on that kind of level now. When we talk, I think I probably talk way too much, but it's not all about annuities and the other financial stuff. We actually have become friends.
I was going to say, just did a lot of these relationships, the human touch is missing.
And that's the key. That's what Sean has.
So this is a lesson to all of these advisors out there that, number one, tell me constantly you cannot get quality relationships over the internet. Not true. And number two, that you can create that kind of rapport digitally. You don't here's Sean, hasn't sat across from Claire yet, but I bet he will at some point for sure. But he's already got that rapport, and he's already got that good relationship with her. Like she's one of his old time neighbors or something, right?
Right. And then he does podcasts, and I've listened to his podcasts. He's
a good guy. And I'm so glad that you came on to talk to me about this. Again, it's been very instructive for me, because I do try to ferret out more people like Sean. It is hard. It is a needle in a haystack kind of expedition that I'm on. But we have this site, Claire, just so you know, called Safe Money Trends.
Okay.
So Safe Money Trends is where I'm starting to put some of the great advisors that I'm running across. And it's a place for people to go. And you can also read Sean's articles that are on there. Just look for Sean Sparkman, click on it, and you'll see some of the articles he has. And
I get those by email too. I get his articles. Yep.
We've been talking to Claire out in Massachusetts today, everyone. She is a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to ask her about teeth, and then next I'm going to get her on the podcast. She's a great speaker, and I would love to talk to her about dental hygiene, because honestly, Claire, I'm telling you, so many seniors I meet say, oh my gosh, I wish I'd taken care of my teeth when I was younger.
Oh, it is so important.
It's so important, and it's expensive, because
it's too expensive, Tammy, I think. I would not be a good business owner. So I feel bad for people that can't take care of their teeth.
I know why Sean likes you so much, because you're delightful, and I do want to have you back on the podcast again if you're ever interested. And
I would love to.
Yeah, and so for right now, we're just going to tell everybody, if you're an advisor listening to this, you need to pay attention to what your end users want. They want simplicity. They want connection. They want you to care about them more than they care about the commissions that they're getting from the product. They want you to be what you're supposed to be, which is a fiduciary, which is somebody who puts their best interests at number one position before anything else. So And also for those
And
of you,
Sean.
and that's Sean Sparkman, go to safemoneytrends.com and you can find people who have committed to those kind of ideals. So thanks again, Claire from near Boston.
Thank you, Tammy.
Enjoy your day at the beach with your puppy, and we will definitely talk later. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, Tammy. Have a good day. Bye.
You've done it. You've faced the fear and triumphed. Thanks for listening to the Safe Space Podcast with Tammy D. For episode information or to suggest a guest or topic, go to saferpodcast.com.